bring up our first speaker.
Wow, thank you so much. I think that there's something that we don't talk about enough in our society, something really lovely and magnificent and wonderful, and probably quite close to your house. It's the grocery store. It's a building that contains, at minimum, thousands of individual edible products, and also seasonally, sometimes water guns. But the problem with grocery stores is that they are all different and they need to be standardized.
Yeah.
Agreed. Agreed.
99.99999% of all grocery stores are not my grocery store, making almost every grocery store in the world an unfamiliar grocery store. My grocery store, I can get in and out 15 minutes. Wow. An unfamiliar grocery store, that might easily exceed 30. Why does this matter?
No.
Oh, you're going to die.
Yeah.
And you do not want to spend what little time you have left here on this earth wandering the labyrinthine aisles or like some kind of modern Theseus, except instead of a Minotaur at the center, it's your wife's preferred brand of cream cheese. Now, I will say that many grocery stores have figured out a fairly standard perimeter. The outside you walk in, there's going to be plant parts.
Yeah.
Mostly edible, though sometimes not.
Oh.
Additionally, you're going to run into animal parts.
No.
After that, you might find stuff that came out of animals. Increasingly, also plant-based imitations of stuff that came out of animals. Also, plant parts processed into baked goods, and plant parts processed into what I, internet science guy Hank Green, like to call mood-altering drinkables.
Ooh, my favorite.
Yes. But then, inside the middle of the store, there's an area that I like to call how to make my life worse. This area of the grocery store is organized in many different kinds of ways. Here are just 5 of them. Number 1, like items with like. And this is how you think everything is, but it's not. You also have how they're used, like when you put the caramel with the apples. You also have where they are from. Oftentimes you might get a Hispanic aisle.
Dale.
Increasingly, occasionally, you'll find half an aisle that's dedicated to 60% of Earth's people and 30% of its land area. Asian. Yeah. Thank you, Chris. You sometimes, but not always. There is also specific need, like your vegetarian food, your gluten-free food. Increasingly, you might find an aisle that's called healthy food, which does ask questions about the entire rest of the grocery store. But our last category here, they paid to be there. There are many shelves in the grocery store where the people will pay to have their products featured. I actually reached out to some people who design layouts for grocery stores for this presentation because I don't fuck around. And do you want to know the thing that made me the most angry of everything that I heard in those conversations? There is a relationship between the time you spend in the grocery store and thus how much money you spend in the grocery store and the legibility of the aisle signs.
Wow.
What?
Yes.
Interesting.
They used to put the aisle signs on the end of the aisle so that you could see as you were walking by. Now they've put them in the middle of the aisle so you have to turn and look down, and they make the sign just far enough away that you have to take a couple of steps into the aisle, and then you turn and you're like, this is the wrong aisle. But am I the kind of guy who would eat chicken skin crisps?
Wow.
But now comes the greatest trick the devil ever pulled. Did you think you were going to get out of this store without a AA battery or a Rolos? Get fucked.
Right.
You're in the checkout aisle now, motherfuckers. This is the section of the grocery store where I think to myself every time, you know what, Daddy does deserve a York peppermint patty. Did you want to know about the love lives of a celebrity that you can't quite place? I'm getting manipulated from the moment I walk in this store to the moment I leave, but this problem can be solved through standardization. You might be thinking, but Hank, grocery stores are all different sizes. There's tiny ones and big ones. They have 1,000 items. Some have 50,000 items. There is an institution that's already solved this problem. Allow me to introduce you to fucking libraries.
Wow.
Tiny and gigantic, and all of them can handle way more items than any grocery store in the history of Earth. Not even the lost grocery store of Alexandria had more.
That's cute.
How they do it? The Dewey Decimal System. And that's right, I am proposing a Dewey Decimal System of food.
Yes.
Wow.
Perhaps the Chewy Decimal System.
Yeah, and that's exactly
But
yeah.
yay, boo.
I'm into
You like
it.
it? I brought you merch.
Yay!
What?
Chewy Decimal System shirt. Chewy Decimal System hat.
Up here, in the rafters.
We're throwing shirts. Everybody likes it when you throw shirts.
I have nothing so far.
Yes.
That's just my
I have
outfit.
nothing so far, and I want it the most.
There's mugs.
I am so easily convinced of anything.
Now, you might not be familiar with exactly how the Dewey Decimal System works, so I will explain it to you.
Thank you.
There's 0 to 999. Every 100 digits is a different category. 100 to 199, that's philosophy and psychology. In a bizarre twist, all of literature is in the 800s. You can fit everything in because the Dewey Decimal System, unlike the fragile Earth that we for now get to call home, can handle anything. Let's look up a cookbook. How would you find it? Well, cooking is a technology, so it's going to be in the 600s. Why is cooking a technology? You can find out in a book at 025.431, which is where books about the Dewey Decimal System are categorized according to the Dewey Decimal System. So 600 for technology, 641 for food and drink, 641.5 for cookbooks, 0.56 for specialized cooking, 0.563 for healthy cooking, 0.562 for cooking for kids.
Oh my God.
Now, you might be thinking, Hank, who's going to figure out how to categorize all of these foods? I already did it.
Yeah, I knew it. I knew it. Oh my God.
I'm not going to go through all of this for you right now, but I will say that when I first put pets and babies in the same category, I felt a little weird, but the more I thought about it, the more sense it made.
That's our baby.
They all
They
fit.
can't take
Babies are
care of
pets.
itself.
That's right. Does this solve all the problems I have with grocery stores? Yes.
Yeah.
Wow. That's actually that.
No.
Yeah.
You don't know where jelly goes in the grocery store because you're not really quite sure what jelly is.
Yeah.
But we do know for sure is that jelly isn't really food, it goes on food. And that is the 600s in my system. So you might go to 610 for spices, 620 for salsas, 630s for salad dressings. You gotta go to 670s for bread toppings specifically, 675 for jellies, 675.0 for grape jelly because that's the default, 675.1 probably raspberry.
You're so right.
I have to emphasize, this is like this everywhere. At every grocery store in America, you got spices, salsas, dressings, mayos and aiolis, nut butters, jellies, honeys, and syrups. In that order, in the 600 aisle of every grocery store, if you hit a nut butter and then a honey, you know there's no freaking jelly in that store and you can stop looking.
Wow.
Some of you might be thinking, but does that mean that the salsas aren't gonna be with the chips anymore?
I was thinking that.
That's the world we live in now!
Fair.
Some of the time the salsas are with the chips, but probably only the name brand ones that paid to be there. Some of them might be in the Hispanic aisle, some might be with the dressings and the condiments. In increasingly unhinged situations, they're with the produce. We can change this for our children and our children's children, and most importantly, for me.
Oh,
Any questions?
Wow.
Hank. What an incredible presentation. What about salsas that are fresh, that need to be in the refrigerated section, and salsas that are shelf stable and could last 300 years?
Yeah. What do we do? This is also the case for any refrigerated item. So with the refrigerated items, you're going to have a separate section that is for just refrigerated, and then the code is going to take over from that one digit. So if the salsas are, for example, 620.5,
Okay.
then it would have the refrigerated digit in the first and then push all the other digits over.
I'm being completely honest. This is the only thing that's ever made sense to me.
So when you go to the grocery store, do you go to a bunch of drawers and pull out cards and look for what you're looking
You know,
for?
we don't need to, but we should anyway.
Yeah.
There are so many niche products in grocery stores these days. How many decimals do you tend to go out?
You can go out as far as you want.
Wow.
I sometimes buy books, periodicals, Archie magazines at the grocery store. So would there be like a separate Dewey Decimal System within the Chewy Decimal System?
You're in charge of that.
I'm on it.
Oh my God, Hank, thank you so much for this enlightening information.